I don't know, what was your main takeaway from another Yankees bludgeoning of the Twins last night?
The highlight for me was Mitch Hestad, Dustin's right-hand man in the public relations department,
Yeah.
and one of the young guys that works with him were in the elevator, coming up those 4 floors, basically from sub 2 to 4, in the elevator, door closed, granite, concrete and limestone all over, and they heard the crack of the bat from Judge. They're in the elevator, and they look at each other and say, Judge hit one.
You could be stuck in that elevator yelling for help for 5 weeks and no one would hear you, but you can hear the crack of an Aaron Judge home run from the other side.
It was so loud. And then, 4 pitches later, it was louder when Stanton hit the one upstairs. It was Phil Miller had a great lead today that, the game starts and 10 minutes later, 889 feet worth of home runs have been hit by those 2 guys. I'm shocked that the kid made that. He made it through 3 2/3 or whatever it was. I thought it was really going to be.
He battled his tail off. Absolutely. Classic. If Gardy were the manager, he loved when a pitcher would give up 5 runs in the first inning or whatever, but then still make it through 4 or 5 innings and you battled your tail off.
But beyond that, they were within 4-3 and then 5-4. They were, but did you ever have idea that there wasn't 4 or 5 more runs waiting around the corner once the Yankees got interested again? So, which is what happened. And Duffy, I heard Duffy's post game, and he was kept complaining about it. He thought he had Judd struck out, but hey, Duff, you can't keep hanging that curveball. Bad things are going to happen, man. The pitches that they are hitting for home runs off him are cookies from unbelievable, just breaking balls sitting right in the middle of the plate. It's I don't know what they're going to do with him. His fastball he's lost 3 miles an hour from about 2 years ago, right? When was he really good?
19 and 20. 19 and 20. He was, yeah.
Yeah, the velocity's not there, and that curveball, he's got to get ahead with the fastball and then pound it down, not flip it up. And that'd just be a great pitch for him. And when he first came up that first year, he just threw nothing but curveballs, and everybody talked about it. But that's bad. But you know what? It seemed like a mismatch last night. And now they have 2 much better pitchers coming up against them the next 2 nights. Taillon has been pitching really well, but Cortez is the best pitcher in the American League right now, and Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in the American League for the last 4 years. So go get them, fellas. Isn't it amazing, though, that you look at what the Twins have been through with their starters, and these 5 guys have pitched 53 out of their 55 games, started 53 of their 55. And last night, Taillon not going 5 was the first in 21 straight. The 21 previous games, he'd gone at least 5. Wow. I talked to Atterbury last night, and we were just BSing. And the Yankees bullpen has pitched 55 fewer innings than the Twins bullpen.
Wow.
Because of the starts. And the Twins have had, he told me, 24 starts of 4 or less.
And some of that is like last night. You run a guy like Sands out there, and he's he's just, you're not getting much. But some of it's their choice.
Yeah,
they're just choosing not to run starters out there for a 5th or 6th or 7th inning.
They're not letting them go a 6th inning, and then long term, that's going to kill you. But I mean, Chris Archer hasn't missed a start, and he's pitched 39 in a 3rd inning.
Yeah,
and he starts. He's the only guy that hasn't missed a start. But he
doesn't even qualify for the ERA title. Probably.
He might as well be a reliever, right? I mean, 39 in the 3rd innings. Come on, he pitched 5 his last time, so maybe. But wow, it always looks. It's pretty much. I don't think 2006 it looked like a mismatch, but they ended up sweeping them. And even in 9 and 10, those are pretty good clubs. But it looks as much like a mismatch now as it ever has, doesn't it?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
without Correa, without Sonny Gray, and I mean,
without. I mean, Sonny Gray was good. He's good, but yeah, it's incredible. Although I do remember I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking, the Yankees, man, they just can't do well against the Yankees. I said, many a year ago, when we first started talking about this, I think I've told you guys this 10 times. I walked into the Yankee dugout before the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were all sitting on the back of the bench. This is like maybe 11, 12, I don't know. A-Rod, Jeter, Cano in his prime, and Teixeira. Those were the four guys. And I said, I believe I have identified the jinx.
yeah.
I think I've identified, because Cano, who ended up being a thief, stealing $210 million, was great. He was a Hall of Famer when he was 28. He was great. And ended up, he never gave a damn. He ran to first base like, Vlad does sometimes. But, this team, they might, what are they going to win? 110 with that pitching staff? If they don't have some injuries? Wow. I don't know.
Since 2002, guys, the Yankees are 110 and 38 against the Twins.
Yeah.
That includes playoffs, right?
And actually, they've had a better record in Target Field than they have it's really bad at Yankee Stadium. Well, it's bad here, too, but they've beaten them. I remember one of Kelly's terrible teams, though, one year, like beating them 4-2 in the season series when the Yankees were winning World Series. And, so odd things happen in baseball. But,
one of the things that irks me that people say is, so Judd throws out, they're 110 and 38, which is like a 120, 125 win pace or something. So they're playing at this historical 162 game pace against the Twins.
Yes,
over a 20-year period in which at least half of those years the Twins have been a 90 or 100 win team themselves, yes. Right? Yeah. And people say, well, but look it's a mismatch. There's no such thing as a mismatch in baseball that would lead to one team winning 120 out of 162 games over the long run. It doesn't make any sense. Some of it's probably just, bizarre.
I wonder, here's what I wonder. Okay, what is it, 120 and 38?
110 and 38.
110 and 38. 150 games. How many have the Yankees been favored in?
Most.
100, probably 100. Mm-hmm. Probably 2 out of 3. So, I mean, it is an ungodly number, but they, with the pitching matchups and everything, they've generally been favored, I would guess, 2/3 of the time, probably. And now it gets to the point where they're favored because it's the Yankees playing the Twins. So
right, but what's weird is, so the Yankees against the Twins play at a 120 win pace, but the Yankees against the league, which includes a lot worse teams than the Twins, play at they probably play at a 94 win pace or whatever over the 20 years. 92 win pace.
Didn't this Yankee team start off by losing 3 out of 4 to Baltimore or something? And they
got off to not a great start.
What we're looking at here, this was not a team of tremendous expectations they knew they were going to be pretty good, but they never saw this coming. Well, hell, they made Girardi fire half of his coaching staff last year to keep his job, right?
Boone,
including Boone. Yeah, I keep saying Girardi. Boone. Including Phil Nevin, who's now the manager of the Angels, and 2 of his other guys. They made him, Cashman made him fire 3 of his coaches because they were so disappointed in the last season. And I don't think they saw this coming, but you look at Tyon. He had Tommy John 2 years ago. You look at Severino has had a great career ruined by constant arm trouble. So they couldn't have anticipated having the same 5 starters for at least the first third of the season. But that does make a difference. But what do you think of their lineup? I don't. Judd, when Stanton is not an out, it's pretty dang good. I think they gave LeMahieu a lot more money than he deserved. I know he's a 2-time batting champion, but
He's good.
Yeah, he's. I mean, he's good. Donaldson, I don't think it's the world's greatest lineup.
I think the first four hitters are ridiculous.
Yes, they are.
You know, like LeMahieu, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, and then to me, a lot of it depends on. So Joey Gallo has been almost unplayable this season, but he can also
had 2 singles last night. That might be the that might be the first 2 single game he's had in 5 years. Because he usually hits more home runs than he hits singles.
But Gallo's been a 40 home run guy, pretty recently. If all of a sudden Gallo goes back to at least being Gallo, and Josh Donaldson's not the same guy he was 5 years ago, but if those guys are at least competent, and Aaron Hicks can get on base. But the first 4 hitters, I would stack those 4 guys up against any lineup in baseball. That's a ridiculous stretch to have to get out.
I'll tell you what they do. They don't swing the bats, man. They're still back to that 3 or 4 or 5-year-old philosophy of make the pitcher throw as many pitches as he possibly has to. They don't. Aaron Hicks was doing that before it was fashionable, not swinging the bat. But the Yankees,
he was afraid at the time.
One thing the Yankees do is they take the borderline pitches. They don't swing at them because they figure the umpire will give them to them anyway. So, to some degree. That kid I think that guy behind the plate last night was a rookie, right?
That's young.
Tassi, I never heard of him.
I don't know he's a rookie, but yeah, he
was. You had no idea what the hell he was.
I got a question for you, Royce. Tell me this. With the 3 starters that the Twins got against the Yankees, does Joe Ryan, who's coming off COVID, and we're told he wasn't really sick, okay? Does he need to go, and he's going to go on a rehab assignment? So, explain to me how you justify to the team, Joe's got to go to St. Paul to make a start instead of Dylan Bundy.
Here's a bigger problem. They don't have starters for Saturday and Sunday. They got to sell Smeltzer, and then they don't know who's going to start. Why would you not have Joe Ryan throw his 70-pitch rehab against the Rays on Friday night instead of sending him to St. Paul? I did one of my low-key profanity-filled tirades about this in the press box last night.
Some low-key profanity.
Some low-key for Patrick, which in 2022 is like FM, the volume turned up.
As I was leaving the press box last night, I turned to the Yankee press car and I said, "That's all right. We'll get you bleeping bleepers in October." Which got a pretty good chuckle out of.
Is that how it's going to end at some point, where they're just they're going to do this, get swept, but then they're going to run into the Yankees next year or something in the playoffs and just beat the brakes off of them for 3 games?
No, it ain't going to happen. But by the way, the Mighty Whiteys, Kopech, and some other guys shut out the Dodgers last night. They're only 4 back now, and they've been in a coma. And meanwhile, you're sending out non-big league pitchers. And Joe Ryan, somebody in that unbelievably over-analytic, and I'm not saying that as far as analytics. I'm saying they analyze.
They're dense. They're very dense.
All these emotional things and throw Joe. Tell that cocky little SOB Joe Ryan to get his ass out there and pitch.
He wants to pitch here.
I know he does.
Duke said he wants to pitch here. He's being told you've got to go, and he's like, "No, I don't," and he's right.
No, they don't have any other pitchers. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go over and look in St. Paul and say, "You know who they got over there? Joe Ryan. Let's bring him back." What the hell?
What's the so what day is he scheduled?
He's been on the COVID list for 2 weeks, by the way. Unless you're in the hospital on a respirator, you don't take 2 weeks, for God's sakes.
And even then, you might consider getting him out.
Was he testing positive for 2 weeks?
No,
I don't know what
he's been out. He's been out in public. I have been told on Friday. Yes, he was out in public. He's bored out of his mind here.
Okay,
he's
so
not
hold on.
doing anything.
So he must have been unvaxxed, and that's why he didn't go to Toronto, right? Okay. So it's fine. You can't go to Toronto. Why can't they find him a place literally anywhere? If he's tested negative and he's out and about having dinner places, while the
But
team's
I
in
think
Toronto.
they made- I
Can't
think
you
they
find a
made him
catcher and throw 70 pitches in a sim game somewhere?
Yes. Well, they were all at Target Field, allegedly. I think maybe they didn't let him go to Target Field. I don't know. God, they overthink everything. It's unbelievable. You know. So.
And we haven't even
And by
talked
the
about
way,
what. Oh, go ahead.
Buck DH'd again last night.
Yeah.
God Almighty, what? He takes 2 out of 4 days off, and they still have to DH him. Play him. What the hell is going on? Play him in center field. He can't hit now. At least maybe he can go out there and catch a ball. What happened to him at the plate? He was striking out like
His knee
crazy.
must just be barking, right?
I don't know.
That's got to be it.
He looked like his old self last night. And by that, I mean 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Like he got the double in the first, but after that, he was helpless.
If let's say his knee, my guess is, he would have played in center field if his knee felt good. There's no reason to be off day,
Right.
So if his knee's barking, but we think it's a chronic issue, as the Twins have alluded to, what do you do? Do you just keep doing this? Do you put him on the IL for a couple weeks?
I don't know what you do.
You hope it calms down. That's what they're doing right now.
The only
Clearly.
player I admire on that whole roster is Jorge Polanco. The rest of them, I got no time for any of them. The rest of them, Jorge Polanco, they have to, basically Rocco admitted that the reason Polanco gets to play all the time is he hides. He never comes in and talks to them. He never tells them anything. He stays out of the trainer's room when no spies are in there. He knows the only way you could be in the lineup is to hide and not let them have any hint that he has a chronically bad ankle and he just plays and he hits home runs and he plays great. If they had 5 of those guys, they would, you wouldn't be going through this silliness. But I don't know. On another point, Joe Madden finally got fired. What the hell was it going to take, huh? 12 in a row. How about that collection? How did they lose 12 in a row with Ohtani?
Did you see? And now
Trout
got hurt last night.
Trout got
Poor
hurt.
team. You thought,
Did they win? Did they lose again?
They lost again, I think.
Did they?
13 in a row.
Straight.
You know
So
that-
did you see, Pat, did you see the exchange between one of the beat writers and Joe Madden? So he must have done a media session earlier in the day, or maybe it was the night before, and then he got fired. So this is Sam Bloom is he's the beat writer for the Athletic that covers the Angels. And he posted this exchange. He just posted the Q&A. And so his first question was, do you feel like the team is still competing and fighting the way that you want right now? And Joe, the last 12 straight games. And Joe Madden goes, what do you think? And Bloom says, I mean, you've lost 12 in a row. And Madden says, but you asked a different question. What do you think? And Bloom says, I'm asking what you think. And Madden says, are you saying we're not competing? And Bloom says, I'm not saying that. I'm curious if you think you're competing. And they went back and forth. And then in the Q&A, he puts in 2 different times, PR asks me to move on. PR asks me to move on.
Well, to start off with, it's almost a BSN question, It was so I wouldn't have responded it that way. Yeah, that's where you needed Jim Fry or somebody like this. Yeah, or Weaver or something. Yeah, hell yes, we're out warriors, aren't we? Aren't you impressed with us the way we're out there fighting every day? That's what you needed, one of the old time smartasses to say, yeah, boy, we've been really something, haven't we? Just a lot of bad breaks, only about, we were right on the cusp twice in 12 games. It was, that's a tough question. I wonder if he's any relation to Barry.
Barry Bloom?
Been out on the West Coast for everything.
I don't know.
Barry asks about 3 questions. He can empty out an interview room in about 5 minutes. What a pain in the ass he's been.
The poor
I've
guy.
done a lot of press conferences with Barry. And you go, oh no.
Let me ask you this. What is the number one question? I get that it has become hard, I think, with today's media.
Yeah.
Like Bally's isn't going to ask anything. I think the current the current collection of Twins beat writers is not. It's not a group that's going to ruffle feathers like a Mike Berardino maybe did a few years ago.
Oh, Berardino.
So if you could send
we
like
needed Berardino. We need Berardino right now.
If you could send in that type of, all right, I don't care what anyone's going to think. I don't care if I torch the bridge and this is the last time I'm ever invited back as a credentialed member of the media. What is the one question you would want Rocco Baldelli to be asked? Or the Twins front office?
About what are you doing? What is this preoccupation with rest? What is this? What the hell? You know, what happened? Why do you not believe in the theory that if you're good enough to play, you should play? That is the question I would ask.
Yeah, it's fair.
You know, I said, you know, for 120 years, if you felt good, there is no 100%, Rocco. There is not. It's 162 games. It should be 140 games out of 162. What is the preoccupation with needing somebody to be 100%? Yeah. What is the preoccupation with getting them off their feet today? It's baseball. You got to play. I mean, I got to think Correa could have played 3 days ago.
That's another one. Okay, so so Correa. Why is if Correa's in the lineup today? Why was he not in the lineup last night?
Yeah, right. I said the same thing. He was off Tuesday, Monday. There's a good day off.
Yep.
And now we're going to put him through a strenuous workout. If he can go through a strenuous workout, I got a better idea. Play him in the damn game. And if he has to leave in the fifth inning, okay, he didn't pass the strenuous workout. I don't get it.
And he's also coming back off COVID, and he's vaxxed.
Yes.
So there's no downside to playing him unless he's going to have long-term complications, which means that the rest of his life is impacted. So just play him. Like he's not coming off a knee problem. It's not even even if the rest of
and even if the rest of his life is impacted, who cares? Play him.
If you're going to have him have an arduous workout, you have it Monday on the off day, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The only trouble is if you have a hard workout, then Rocco won't let you play the next day because you got to have a day to recover. You know, he had a injury plagued career, but if I ran that team right now, I would find this current generation's Leonard McKenzie, who was the internist, and Leonard was afraid of blood, right? He didn't like blood. He was a guy, he didn't like blood. He liked to have a couple of toddies before the game. I'd have him be my medical guy. And, you know, and he'd say, there you go. Let's go. Come on.
Looks good to me. Yep.
Go get him.
You're bleeding. Get away from me.
Good enough for me.
But Doc.
Good enough for me.
Pitcher takes a comebacker. There's only, you got to get out there and help him. He's bleeding. I'm not going to go near him.
I went with Doc a couple of times. He's a character, but we once, I think it was opening day, and Charlie Johnson, the old sports writer, kind of had an episode at the bar on opening day downstairs in the press room before the game, and Doc basically stepped over him to get us a drink.
Jeez.
I mean, he said, "You okay? You gonna be okay, Charlie?" Charlie, yeah, okay. Yes, I'll have a cocktail. That's what we need in our medical staff. Too much attention.
We need a Twins room. That's what we need, Pat. Bring back the Twins room so people can get drunk and not worry about the small details.
Somebody told me that Sanchez, who had a terrible night last night, he couldn't block anything and went 0 for 4, maybe because the Yankees were there. Somebody told me that our guy Tanner Swanson, you know, the catching guru, the one-legged guy, he's going to cause more sterile catchers than anybody in history because the ball's jumping up and hitting them in the crotch. But with the one-legged thing, he drove Sanchez nuts. One of the big problems, I mean, Sanchez was already struggling, and they supposedly brought this guy in to help him catch. But, you know, you just want Gary to sit back there and catch most of them, right? And not teach him any of these new age stuff. And I guess somebody who's been with the Yankees a long time said he drove Sanchez crazy. Sanchez was asked yesterday, he had a little session there, and he's a quiet guy down in the dugout. And he asked asked what he missed. He missed some of his teammates and the chefs and the chefs in the clubhouse. He
I'm
missed
sure Yankees catering is probably 5-star. Absolutely.
He missed the chefs too. So that's
All right. Well, we'll rack them again tonight, Pat. We'll rack them up again tonight.
I'm ready to go see Nestor the Molester though tonight. So let's.
I'll be
very
there.
exciting. Yep.
I haven't really watched him pitch much, but it's something. Where did he come from? It's just he appeared and he's fantastic. He came up last year, but man, he's been fantastic. So 1.50 ERA. Go get him, fellas.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, Pat. We'll talk to you on
See you, Royce.
Friday. All right. That's Rapping with Royce here. Mackey and Judd scoring on the YouTube channel.